The jungle, Kintargo, Kovlar. Everywhere the Triad has popped up, they have fallen. They won't win.
You're right. They'll never win. We've given them no quarter, forced them back into hiding at each turn, back into their holes. Where do they hide now?
Along the Golden Road. Coin me and show their safety and buy them some time. No amount of gold will protect them from us.
Us. Together. Beating death, breaking curses, and always finding our way. We'll find them. And then they'll know it's over.
So run. Run all you like. There is no fortress, no keep that will protect you. No army or force that will stop us. No matter how long it takes, we will find you. And we will destroy you. We are the unforgotten. We are eternal.
For sure. And completely. Hello, and welcome to Penny for a Tale. I don't know why it feels like I've been gone for multiple weeks, but I have not. Oh, and there's already people coming in. I'm getting some wave emojis. Okay. Without further ado, I'll jump into it. Before we get into what calamity ensued last session and how we pick up the pieces, briefly, I want to say this show is sponsored by Smiteworks. Creators of Fantasy Grounds, Unity. If you want a virtual, say again. Oh, is it? Wait. Let's see. Oh, it's because the auto captioner isn't set up. 1 second. I have a magic trick for those. It's called "Go away, I don't want you here." It works for pets sometimes. I'm a rude man. Why don't we go over character introductions while I stomp this bug out, starting with our stargazer, Daniel.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel. I am going to be playing Sailix Lavendil tonight, the Crestfallen, who recently is the new guild leader of the Gladiators Guild of Ketapesh. That's great. Can't wait for that. And also how he is alone in the city, and we all know what the Celestial does when he's alone with, multiple bodies that answer to him now. Anyway, can't wait to see how this plays out. Let's get to it.
Okay. Are we gonna gloss over how you brutally murdered your opponent there?
You don't. It's not murder if it's a fight.
No,
to the death.
it's
like
both it's a
parties
murder.
Agreed.
She didn't agree for the brutal finisher that was. I'll grant that. It was rough. It was a good one. She was just absolutely impaled. It was a spectacular time. I want to take it over to our crafter, our mason, our many blessed man, James.
Howdy. I am James. I am playing Waldorf Skysteel tonight, the Dwarven Cleric, out in the middle of the desert with Poppy, trying to save and track down this magic camel. I don't care what you say, Ian, the camel is magic. And we have been confronted by a giant, what we are referring to as a phoenix god. Kind of this massive fire bird creature that looks like half phoenix, half peacock, and kind of both at the same time, which is really kind of hard to wrap my brain around. But I think the important thing is that Waldorf and Poppy are together, and they have each other's backs, and they're going to get through this.
Oh.
Aww.
Cheesy. No,
Can't
not
wait to
aw.
see how he rips that apart.
Gross and
Oh,
sad.
it's going to happen. We're
No,
just giving him
look, if something sad
ammunition.
happens,
It's really all it is.
if something sad happens, you know whose fault it is?
Yours?
Sam, go ahead and
Yours.
introduce yourself.
Excuse me. The audacity.
I mean, let's
Guys,
face
I'm
it, truth
Sam.
hurts.
I am
Ooh.
the sweetest, most lovable Poppy. That would do nothing ever to hurt Waldorf. Ever. And neither would Sam. Because Sam is just as lovable and sweet. And that is all that's happening tonight. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. Not even letting me. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry.
You'll buy that. I got oceanfront property in Arizona for you.
Yeah, she may not hurt Dora. Rune, on the other hand, she will destroy. Hello.
Yeah, but Rune's
I am
got it
Mr.
coming.
Smith. I play Rune Ravenswood. I don't know what's going on with Rune. He is legitimately a continent away in the kingdom of Nymeria, in the downtrodden city of Starfall, trying to hunt down information, and came across a face he had not seen in a long time. Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I think let's pick it up from there, shall we? Last I described, yeah, your wizard went on a hypercognition sort of shopping spree in the libraries.
Yeah.
Stopped dead in your tracks, however. Who you meet might surprise you. An old friend. The both of you seem not to have aged a single day. You haven't met each other in, well, it's got to be coming up on a decade now.
Just over.
Yeah. Magra spoke briefly, but you haven't had a chance, Rune. What do you do here in this underground, this secret Bellflower Network, underground railroad style library? What do you do?
So upon the Magra turning around, he just stops and his his brow furrows, and Professor Delight, is it? How did you get here? Why?
Rune, is that really you, though?
Why, yes, Professor. Yes, it is. It's been a long time.
Come in. There's so much we need to
Oh,
catch up on. I believe it's been nigh on 10 years now.
are you at the network?
Periodically I do research for them, but it's best we discuss these types of things behind closed doors.
Oh, yes. Particularly here. Yes, of course. He will follow her in.
Yeah, with a quick wave of her hand, the door would close behind Rune, and all the sort of scraping and just minor sounds from outside are totally blocked off as their silence sort of envelops them.
Well, why are you here? I don't understand.
I've been... This is strange. I suppose I have no room to talk, but you look exactly the same as when I left you. But 10 years ago.
Yeah, he kind of stops and looks down and says, oh, yes, you're quite right, actually. It has been some time. There were events that have occurred since we last spoke, to say the least.
But just tell me this one thing. Have you still been studying? Are you still in the pursuit of knowledge?
His eyes brighten. Oh yes, of course. I'm very close, actually. I think I've almost figured it out. I've managed to capture the energies of each tradition. I've come to understand at least how each individual magic user imposes their perception upon the use of power, really. And I'm almost there. I'm so close. But enough of that, really. I mean, what brought you up here? What?
No,
how can
there be enough of that?
It's now. My research continues, as it always has. Do you still teach? Are you still part of the academy?
No, soon after they revoked your scholarship, I actually left. Finally seeing it for the Viper's Pit that it was. You see, as a teacher, the only thing I want to impart to my students is the ability to think for yourself. Anyone can memorize dates and learn facts, spells, but to do what you did, to truly question things, to not just take things at face value, that's really what I wanted to impart.
I mean, you certainly had your lessons. They meant something to me, at the very least. Your knowledge of magical history was rather impressive, and honestly, it led to quite a few initial revelations. I've been to the Mongambian Academy, where old Major Tambi once taught how the 10 magical warriors. It's so beautiful down there, actually. The halls are all open to the jungle outside. Sunlight comes through the overhanging open air windows and the columns. It's honestly, it's truly magical. It was, yeah. But I did find out that it was there that I had one of my first revelations of, or proofs of the core theory. See, apparently, old Mage Tatambe had managed to find similarities between how druids and like-minded magic users pull from or enact magic upon the world around them, a sort of primal force of growing trees or summoning animals. But he'd also found how it linked with the arcane nature that most wizards and magic users are used to. That was sort of my first proof that there was something that connected them. I've been building my theory ever since.
As Rune begins to describe the forest among the expanse, Magra grows silent, just sort of getting that faraway look in her eyes. And consciously, subconsciously, she distances herself slightly from Rune, just taking a slight step backwards.
Was everything all right, Professor?
Yes, excuse me, just a strange feeling.
Why have you
Probably.
not aged? You look the exact same as when I was in your class.
Suppose we've been chasing the same theories.
Really? He has again this sort of wide-eyed look of hope and enjoyment. Have you found any? Have you found anything?
It's interesting. After I left the academy, I too went to the Wongi Expanse. Sort of chasing that same trail, it seemed like. That's sort of what led me here as well. The interconnectedness between the technology and the strange magic surrounding the mount, but I don't know, Rune. It's definitely something that's been different. Something. There is a connectedness, but trying to prove that has taken more time than I thought.
Rune, you can make a check here if you'd like. Something something's off here. There's more to the puzzle.
Would you like an Arcana, Academia? Perception?
Let's do perception. Let's just flat perception.
All right.
This is akin to sense motive.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
In a way, she seems threatened by you or frightened by you. You've done something. Maybe you don't know what you've done, but you've appeared as a threat in some way in her eyes. What do you do?
Professor, I know how and why I still look like this. I can't imagine you would have gone down that path necessarily. But have you died and come back?
Magra will turn away from Rune, go behind her desk that she'd been working at, and just slowly sort of close one of the books that she'd been looking at.
What book is it?
I message you.
All right.
This is a good opportunity.
Secret book.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to ask. Oh, Lavendil, or as he's known in Katapesh lately, oh God Killer. It's been a while, not too terribly long, but I want to ask, what would you be up to right about now?
So Sailix is currently in the arena training gladiators. Once he took over, he went down to where they kept the slaves under the arena, He freed everyone. Anybody that wanted papers of manumission, he got started utilizing all the guild funds. If they wanted to go back to families, he would let them. He'd ask them to stay a week until all the papers were processed legally, so they couldn't be brought back. But if they wanted to stay, if they didn't have families to return to, he offered to train them. And train them he has. So it has been drills. He has set out to, if he's going to be the leader of the Gladiator Guild, to make the best Gladiator Guild the world's ever seen. He has big things in plan, and only the most charismatic and showboating of the gladiators will be put amongst the crowds to prove their worth. So
okay. Well, let's see how your effort does. We're going to use the host event stat block here in book 5. If you want to make a you could use diplomacy, you could use performance, you could use society, or a lore check. Let's see how you do here.
All right. I guess I'm going to. I'll try with diplomacy.
That's pretty rough. You do have that little hero point there.
Yeah,
in the corner.
It's too early in the night for all that.
Are you sure? Look at it. Look at it spin. It's right there. That's a whole reroll.
You know, it's way too
Okay.
early. Like, sorry, I can't.
Well, it's hard. You know, being a guild master. What I do want you to make here in your efforts is just make a fortitude save for me.
Oh.
You've been working tirelessly in a climate you're not quite conditioned to, but you've been fighting it off pretty well.
I'm sorry. Did you say a climate he's not conditioned to? The man has spent 14 years trapped on a desert plain.
Yeah, that's true. So that's interesting. Because when Entridal told you this, it didn't make sense when he heard himself say it. You both spent 14 years on a desert planet, and now, as the words roll out of his mouth, getting you out of bed, you seem under the weather. But to say that, you sort of both look at each other. Why would you be sick here in Katapesh? And yet you were feeling so strange this morning. And try to ask you, are you okay, Sailix?
I'm fine, I guess. Overworked, underpaid, alone, you know.
Yeah. You know, we never talked about Akhenefti. Not really.
All right. Sailix is writing in a journal at this point. All right. Well, what would you like to talk about?
Your thoughts. Sailix, that wasn't even a month ago. Do sincerely remember none of it.
No. And it's not
Name
for
doesn't-
a lack of trying.
Yeah. You should rest. You'll work this
No.
off,
no,
I'm
no.
sure.
It's fine. Let's talk. You and me. You came here. I blew you off before. Let's not do that again. Your ability to do magic. It's impressive.
Yeah. It would have come in handy. Knocking after you. I wasn't brave enough to use it.
So, I may not have memories, but I have, I guess, strong emotional moments. When you walked in on me in that giant sack of ass tendon, you know, I was a little caught off guard. And when you showed me your magic, I didn't really know how to process it at the time, or what the feeling meant. But after the win in the arena, I realized that it was pride that I felt. I was proud that you had learned magic. Why, I can't tell you. But I can tell you that I am proud that you learned it.
You remember not, but you feel. Is that correct?
It's pretty much all I got going for me right now.
The name Takarol. Anything?
Revulsion? I'm not sure if that's the sickness or the name, but you know, it's there.
Likely both.
What is the name Taquan mean?
Well. He took an interest in you. Sailix. Much of the story is not mine to tell. We did so much there. This here that we're doing, this is the epilogue to my saga. I can't relive what we did on Akanefti, but I think Takrol would like to meet you again when you're ready.
Is he here?
No. No, you're not ready, not like this. Do rest.
Sailix will get up and walk over to Intridal, and
Mhm.
he'll kind of put his hands on the side of his face, and he'll touch his forehead to Intridal's, and he'll whisper something in ancient Osiren. Fortunately, there's no rest for people in charge. I think you know that. Now come, let's smack him on the shoulder. I need someone to help me whip these bastards into shape.
All right, Sailix. I need one more fortitude save from you. All right, we're gonna cut away to another calm event, another calm happening. Just outside a little bit. Let's see if I have this. Poppy and Dwarf. What's the last thing you remember from your escapades in the outskirts of Katapesh?
Being surrounded by a giant ring of fire face to face with a phoenix god that claimed the camel for its own.
Exactly that.
Good. Yeah. So we're 100% on the same page. Yeah. The massive, and then again, it's assumed like a strange illusion. It's managed to capture two different distinct forms here, and sure enough, this phoenix-shaped friend has told you you will not be taking the camel.
Does that mean you are?
It is my camel.
Poppy looks very alarmed and confused and will glance over at Dwarf before looking back at this
And Waldorf
creature.
is kind of standing back, like deferring to Poppy because she's better with animals than he is. He's like, this is your bag, babe, not mine.
Really not just an animal.
He is trying to look very unassuming and non-threatening to this gargantuan fire peacock.
A little bit.
I would like to never mind. I guess he would actually like look up at this giant bird and kind of hold open hands, you know, showing that we're not carrying any weapons. And we do not seek to capture your camel. We seek to keep it from capture by those that would do it harm. And I guess I'll like take a knee, actually, just there in the middle of the sand, you know, and kind of genuflect a little bit. We are of one mind. We do not wish to harm Dune Shadow. We wish to keep him safe and away from those that would do him harm.
Did he say he wasn't going to harm Doom's Shadow? Poppy is still standing, looking at the creature.
I would not harm my Dune Shadow.
No,
But now, creature moves closer. Waldorf, if this is coming from the heart, I would like a diplomacy check.
it is very much coming from the heart. I can't watch.
That's very bad.
Oh, I would like to hero point that.
All right.
Come on, baby daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Oh!
I would trust this one. I'll sniff a poke here and there before moving in. The fire has dissipated, leaving a burnt ring around. Dune Shadow is off in the distance. Just wandering. Not fazed by any of this. The beautiful Dune Shadow. What then brought the enemy? The bird looks down into the ground where he had orchestrated the swallowing of the enemy Zutani spawn, the fire beetle.
May I ask a question? Oh, great one. How should we address you?
Prihe and T. Huet.
Kate Hewitt.
And you.
Humbly. My name is Waldorf Skysteel. And this is Poppy Ravenswood. We speak together of one mind and one heart.
Waldorf, make a fortitude save for me.
Ooh. I don't like that.
Fortitude. Come on, baby. Not bad.
You're one shy.
Oh.
Bobby, I'm going to ask what you do here in this situation. Things are going well. People are doing what they need to do. Waldorf is earning the trust of this Simurg. But as you look to your friend, he has become a two-hump camel now through another manifestation of wild shape-shifting
Camel
that your friend Waldorf
really?
is known for. Yeah.
No.
I don't make the rules. I just make them.
No.
Oh my god, this is great.
Look, all I'm saying is if you don't ride him to the market, I'm be very upset at the lack of foresight for that joke.
We'll save that for next episode. Just for the numbers.
Did I just hear camel
Bobby,
door?
what do you do?
Camel
Waldorf,
Dorf.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Wait.
I spit.
Mm.
Drink a whole fuck ton of water.
Again?
Suddenly
Bobby,
not
what do you
thirsty
do?
all of a sudden.
Simurg's pissed. Pissed.
Do I still have like my is my gear like
Ew.
accessible? Do I have like saddlebags on the camel, or is it like
Oh, that is a good
in
question.
my-
It is an
my
armored
being?
camel. It is an armored camel. You
yes?
you mock Shellen's creativity. Oh. Faces in bad faith. I should smite you, shifter.
Me? Can I still speak, or am I like?
Yeah, you can
a
still
camel?
speak. Strangely enough, you can speak. You couldn't speak as a badger.
Poppy would jump at that. He's
I
talking
mean,
now.
no disrespect. I don't know
Respect.
why this happens to me. It seems to be an affliction I mean no disrespect.
You speak to me not of respect. You mock the grace of Dune Shadow. You possess not 1,000th of his beauty.
We were here to save Dune Shadow.
Can I communicate with Dune Shadow as a camel?
It's worth a shot.
Well, I mean, not at the moment, just wondering in general.
Well, this gargantuan magical bird will leap off to confront Poppy for interrupting the conversation. You can tell by the flaring of the feathers. Something bad was going to happen, something violent. And suddenly...
Waldorf is between Poppy and the bird. Just full on, like, shoulder over.
Be of the way. I'll end you.
You'll not touch her. You'll not touch her lest you go through me.
Lord, I can take care of myself.
We can take care of each other, love.
Let's see. From where you came. And with a whip, that feathered tail is going to come at you with the gargantuan bird at the top of initiative.
Wait.
48 would be a critical hit on our camel dwarf.
Oh.
You'll take some, critical damage. You're at 48 wounds now, and you'll notice a sensation, a feeling of magical flair. This arcane energy tags you in a way so as to keep eyes on you. Quite literally, pop, 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 pop. These little eyes just rip all up one of your arms. But they sort of fade into this like glittery dust. All it's doing though, after the initial sting, it seems to be just trying to keep tabs on you because the dust fades over to this Simurg. And you feel a spell crack over you, but it fades with no effect. Not from away, from here. What are you? Gets low again, you start to see that fire climb, a perimeter forming again over the edges.
Just a dwarf. Just a dwarf. With very bad luck.
Side to side. You're a strange one.
Mr. Grinch.
You insult me.
I beseech you to believe me. I don't know why this happens. First I was an elf, and then an orc, and then a goblin, and a badger, and now a camel. I have
You can make a
no
diplomacy check
idea
for me.
why this happens. Yes, please. No, that's
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Dwarf.
Chat. This would
You
be a
got a hero
great
point,
time
don't
for
you?
a hero
I
point.
was
You
untrusting.
not have one?
Now
I already
I
used
am
this.
mad. The flame lights up even higher. You see the reflection in these small Simurg's eyes as it grows again to take that sort of avatarial form. We're gonna cut away though to another place I know. In Starfall, Rune, you've been thumbing through a book, a gift you've been given. You're starting to piece together a couple things here. Is that correct?
Yeah, he thinks so.
Yeah. What do you do?
Professor, have you been having dreams?
She'll sort of look down at her feet for a moment. Yes, one in particular.
Do, if you don't mind, share, please. I've become a bit of a specialist on dreams.
Nightmares.
A specialist. And where did you,
Yes.
Rune Ravenswood, come upon such knowledge?
By traversing the dream for quite some time, Professor. And with that, he'll hold out his hand, and from underneath the folds of his wizard's robes, a little disc will float out and sort of hover. It has on either side. It has the symbol of Desna, a butterfly etched in, but it's off-putting. There's something about it that doesn't quite feel right. I should be rather specific. I know a lot about the dream itself, but it's really the nightmare that I had become accustomed to.
She flinches slightly at that.
I'm sorry. I can put it away if you like.
No. I've taught you magic is magic. Shouldn't be anything to be afraid of, yet ends up being one of the most terrifying things.
It is an energy that can create and destroy all at once. It is to be feared as much as respected. What has happened, Professor? How can I help? And there's an earnest look of worry on his face.
There seem to be many things in this world that we don't quite understand, Rune. And she will reach forward, sort of bypassing the disc, and extends a hand towards Rune.
The disc will sort of return back to the fold of his robes, and he'll take her hand.
So something here I'd like to add. Rune, you notice weird things are at play. You can smell magic before it even manifests in many instances, but this is a little bit different. For that split second, you notice a strange corking of reality. The flow of time, it seems, sort of stops. You feel You know the feeling of static energy when you slide along on slippers and skin touches skin, a jolt. You get a similar feeling when there is contact. Except you notice the hourglass on the table is frozen in place. Dust in the air. Stopped. Held in suspension. Nothing moves. Unless contact is broken.
Rune's eyes are darting around, sort of taking in what's going on.
Yeah.
Professor, this has only been speculated. I've never seen time. Where did you find time?
Make a theory for me, Rune. Speculate.
So there's always been a thought that time was a dimension in and of itself, but finding it was difficult. There was no direct connection to it, regardless of all the things that rely upon it. But there was always rumor of a creature that could traverse time. But no one has seen or heard of them ever that aside from the initial writings, but that was centuries ago. I mean, if magic is what magic is, a manipulation of all the forces that are granted to this universe, time is simply another force? Maybe?
Maybe.
She seems, in a way, surprised to witness this. You've never come into physical contact with this person, nor have you ever seen anything remotely like this. When contact is broken, time resumes as normal. Rune Ravenswood, you feel a similar swirling in your head.
Orichalcum. The metal. The sky metal. He is just looking at anything she might be wearing, any sort of metallic ring or something on her clothing, or Did you find orichalcum?
There doesn't appear. You can make a check for me.
Right.
Make a yeah.
Ooh, nice.
There's none. You can't see any on her, of any grade.
How did you find time?
Magra, this phenomenon is 100% novel to you. You had a feeling something strange would happen, but you had no idea what. So this is brand new. And now you're being questioned about it, like you're the one who's at fault. What do you do?
Me?
Magra just sort of takes her hand back and looks at it for a moment, rubbing her fingers together. Rune, there's just as much that I don't understand. I knew that there was something about you. Nothing like this. I had a
This,
complete loss.
what do you mean this? I don't understand. How did you find a way to tap
Rune,
into the dimension of time?
I didn't find anything.
What was that?
Just we should go someplace else. I don't know.
Yes, of course. Wherever, please lead the way. I can take you to my mansion if you like. Wherever you think would be best.
I just let me settle this first. And there's nothing that I know of the dimension of time. It's not a place I've ever stepped foot in or traversed.
Please, that's yes, of course. I'm sorry. How can I help? Is there anything I can do?
She will cross over and pick up a staff of her own. It's very light, sort of white birch. Someplace safe, someplace that we can talk.
Oh, that's easy. He will look back to the door they came through and run his staff along the edge of the door frame, and then a tap on it, and she'll see sort of the superimposed doorway appear over, and it opens with a creak, and inside there is a farmhouse.
Just that simple farm boy, huh?
Oh, well, I like to remember home as much as I can.
It's good. So many people get haughty ideas and get that, and we're all the same. And she'll step through.
He'll look behind to see where they're coming from, looking back into the actual Bellflower Network space, and follow her in, closing the door.
Yeah. Sure enough, they have no issue allowing you to slip out. After all, this place doesn't exist on paper. But Magra, you probably won't tell Rune that this place looks eerily familiar, somewhere deep in your soul. But really, in essence, there. Sailix, I want to ask, what's going on in your head right about now?
You would. You would.
Yeah. You've been feeling strange, and now.
So Felix is on the sand of the arena, and him and Entrido were drilling with the new gladiator. You know, everybody kind of, there was a surge of people wanting to be gladiators after seeing what happened last week. But suddenly, without him even noticing, people have just slipped away. And it is Sailix staring at a dark corner of the arena. And out walks a half-orc woman with fiery red hair and 2 feathers hanging down, covered in blood. She's
In this
murmuring
twisted
something
dream,
to-
you feel pain. Deep, deep pain. But continue.
As she's murmuring something to him, he tries to get closer to hear, but every time he takes a step, it seems as if the image of her is receding as he is trying to close the distance. The pain coming too much, he kind of falls to a knee, not knowing who it is. He doesn't remember who she is. But he has that emotional connection. Reaching out towards her, a secondary shadowed figure walks out behind her. Blackened wings dripping void like ink as dark hair billows around a face similar to Sailix's own. Just standing behind her, menacingly, not saying anything, just staring. And as Sailix finally stumbles to his feet one more time, all he hears the half-orc woman say, "You said you wouldn't leave me." And then he doubles over in pain again.
You're awake. You're in a cold sweat. You are frightened. By a degree of 2. Reeling and dizzy, a servant has moved in to your quarters. I imagine you stay somewhere near the arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sandclaw's had a spot there, but I could see it belonging to the God Killer now that she's dead. A servant shrieks as you rise up. Suddenly, you're just doused in sweat. I imagine you wear those wings while you sleep, or do you hang them up?
He hangs them up. He sleeps all natural.
Yeah, something about that is eerie to her, and it freaked her out. But as you rose, she shrieks, and then in a combination of embarrassment and shock, she decides to leave with a look of actual frustration. Like you
As
didn't
she
need to
screams-
jump the way that you did.
As she screams at Sailix, Sailix screams back. He's like, "Ah! Ah!"
It would be a couple minutes of you, collecting yourself, maybe applying your wings, and Tridal wanders in. Has it gotten worse?
What's getting worse? The service around here? Yeah, you're right.
No,
People just barge in the middle of the night.
something's wrong, God Killer.
See, I don't like when you call me that. You can call me Sailix, and we can go from there.
Sailix.
Right. That's
You need to see a
better.
surgeon,
A surgeon.
a physician.
Surgeon. physician.
An herbalist.
How about this? There's a particularly what's the word I'm looking for? Particularly substantial pain in my ass that wanders around the city sometimes. It's about 5'10", 5'11", 180, maybe 170 pounds, soaking wet. He's a wizard. Collect him, bring him here. He'll fix all of this.
Where's Rune?
No, that's the one I'm talking about, Mr. Ravenswood. Bring him here. I don't know where he is.
How would you go about finding your wizard?
I have the strong inclination to set everything on fire, and he usually shows up at that point. But I've been told that's frowned upon. So, I don't know. They don't leave calling cards. Fucking, you know how major people of the magical persuasion are.
We'll get your memories back, God Killer.
Yeah.
And we can talk about
why?
mages.
Why are you doing this
Yeah.
to me? Like, I ask for one thing. You just call me Sailix, and you just... All right. In tribal. I'm at your disposal. What? You want to see a physician? Let's go to see a physician.
Would be good. I don't have the tools. I wouldn't know where to find your friend, so collect yourself. There are games at midday, and then we'll go just after that. I need you well. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Okay. And he leaves. Kameldorf, I want to ask. What's your plan here? It seems you've really infuriated this Simurg.
Cower, mostly. Chew my cud. Be a camel wall between it and Poppy.
Which Poppy is frustrated about.
Yeah,
Possibly
well,
run.
this thing hasn't... Yeah, this thing still has an action left. And we'll use it to inform you, I guess, that you've made a grave mistake in trying to deceive
Oh, I'm aware.
the great Prehane. Yeah.
Damn it. Looking through all my spells, and like every single one of them has a somatic component, so I can't even cast spells because I don't have hands.
A strike of the claw. You can make a knowledge religion check at this time if you would like. 38. I think 38 hits.
38 does hit. Damn, my rolls are just garbage.
Oof. Well, the good news is, Poppy, it's your turn.
Perfect. So this thing is just attacking door.
This
What
thing seems to be confused about why you're here.
what is Dune Shadow doing?
Just moseying around, looking, watching, just kind of riding the horizon, wandering about pretty aimlessly. It's an overwhelmingly handsome camel.
Is it still within the circle of fire?
Dune Shadow? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Poppy's gonna run to Dune Shadow.
Run to Dune Shadow.
Yes.
With an attack of opportunity, this we're getting a trip attempt versus your fortitude DC. 42 is a success, not a critical success. You are knocked prone during the first act of your movement. You move up, trip, slam on the ground. 2 actions. What do you do?
She will get up and keep trying to go towards it.
Okay. With a full two rounds of movement, just sprinting up the sand. Dune Shadow is frazzled, but doesn't really have anywhere to go. So in confusion, he'll just sort of stare. Chewing. Poppy, I think you hate camels. But, you know, we're not in a position to be picky about the mission. I want to ask, what do you do as you arrive? You've one action.
She will, like, very slowly, and in a very non-threatening manner, reach out towards Dune Shadow, where it's like his nuzzle, just to like pat him. She's trying to show this Phoenix God that they are not here to harm Dune Shadow.
That is a nature check.
Could you roll that for me?
Yeah.
Just make sure it's a good one.
It won't be. I say that and it's not one.
Hero point?
Yeah.
You don't understand how wise that is.
Oh my god!
7. Seven's good? No, 7's
It's not
good.
a 1. That's all I'm saying.
It's, yeah. Not bad. Not bad. I want to ask, though, hey, Waldorf. Doesn't it seem like the clock is ticking? What do you do?
Staying within range of the big bird, but circling around to be between it and Poppy.
That's an action. Get 2 left. What do you do?
Actually, instead of doing that for my first action, can I disengage and then move? Do a 5-foot step or a shift to get out of range and then move?
So this creature is super, super large. That is not going to help much. However, we know that the bird has spent an attack of opportunity, so it's likely that it might not have multiple. I think you should be fine.
Okay. In that case, I am going to, like, I'm not running, but I'm moving towards Poppy and Dune Shadow. and I'm gonna try and talk to Dune Shadow in Camel. And just say,
In
we
camel.
mean no harm. Yeah, in Camel. Just
In Camel.
We mean
Okay.
you no harm. Yeah. One camel to another. Camel bros just chatting. You know.
You know, I'm gonna make you roll for that. I'm gonna make you roll nature for that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't get the number that I get.
All right, hang on.
Don't
one
ask
second.
him to
Where
roll
do
for
my
you.
Skills go. Nature. Good. I am not even trained in nature. That's awesome. A 13.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm speaking Camel, but the dialect is completely wrong, so he doesn't understand anything I'm saying.
It's
You just
dwarven.
It's-
propose the Dune Shadow.
Let me see. Camels are very low level.
They mate for life, though.
One, two. That would be your 3 actions. Oh, ignore that.
Is it my turn?
No. Arsimurg leaps and drops. You didn't get a good look at the magic that he used at the onset, but more magic comes. You will speak to me candidly. The nature of your visit to steal my camel. An aura
We did not.
We are not
Rippling
here
out.
to steal your camel.
a shimmering
We're
sound.
here
Both of you will saves. I'll roll yours, Poppy. But DC's 37, Waldorf. Fantastic. Fantastic. And an at 20
We're here to
from Poppy.
Oh, thank God.
I mean,
I'm going to give you a chance
Look
here,
at
though, with a religion check. With that prismatic color, every hue, a full rainbow out. It's Shellenite magic. This creature, in some shape or form, worships Shellen, and is using this in an attempt to calm you with an aura of peace. It's magic
we're not the ones that
aligned.
need calming. I'm totally calm.
Now,
We're not here to hurt Dune Shadow. All we wanted was to make sure that it was safe, that the creature that you saved us from, you were trying to get it away from Dune Shadow. All I want is
No.
for him to be free.
We will tell you true.
He
We were
is
sent
free.
to capture him,
You
but we chose not to.
act in bad
You-
faith.
We've done nothing.
I've protected Dune Shadow.
Yes.
Your
Yes,
breeders would manipulate him, take him. Your hunters would skin him.
we have not to do with any of them.
Then
We are the unforgotten. We protect those that cannot protect themselves. We defend the weak and save them from those that would harm them. I will submit
Poppy, you have 3 actions.
to anything. Actually, I would like to, if it's, oh, I guess it's not my turn yet. Never mind.
Poppy, what do you do?
If Dune Shadow lets Poppy, he wants to just sort of place a hand on either side of its head and just like rest her forehead against his, like looking into like the its eye. If you want to protect Dune Shadow, then why don't you take it from here?
Ian, do we
This
know
is
that
the
it's
land.
the Triad that's after Dune Shadow?
Yeah, you do know that.
Did we find that
You
out
do know
from
that.
It was Settler told us that, right?
Yeah.
There's every manner of creature in the land that once they catch sight of this, an angry, beautiful creature are trying to take it from themselves. He's not safe here.
Not safe here. This is his home. The land to which he belongs. I won't let that happen. If Dune Shadow will roam, he will roam.
Then we have to get rid of the Scarlet Triad that is threatening everything here.
For him to be safe, we must eliminate the threat. The true threat. The Triad destroy all they touch. Over and over and over again. Help us save Dune Shadow from them. Help us defeat the Triad, and Dune Shadow will be safe forever.
I need a check from somebody.
Persuasion?
Diplomacy?
Oh, it's not a thing. Diplomacy?
Diplomacy's good, Poppy. Diplomacy's good.
Do you want that from Poppy or Dwarf?
You are done doing diplomacy.
Yeah, I think I'm done. Let's let Poppy roll that one.
Yeah, let me roll that diplomacy check here. So that's a 30 total. Poppy, do you have a hero point?
No, I used it. But she
Okay.
will.
Can I
Oh,
assist
yeah.
her in some way?
Did you say Poppy?
I don't know if it's...
At this point, Poppy would kneel, completely bowing her head and just like fold her hands and just say, I promise with all that I am and all that I hold dear that I want nothing more than for Dune Shadow to be safe. You have to believe us.
Cameldorf is also assuming a submissive posture. Folding those two front legs and going down on knees.
Could you tell me, with sincerity, your mission is not to take Dune Shadow for the breeders?
Yes.
Hey. It's what was asked of us, but it's not what we intend.
That would not
would
be
never-
in your interest. The breeders are quite powerful in Katapesh. That's who they send for my Dune Shadow.
None are as powerful as the Unforgotten.
Unforgotten or not, be that as it may, a creature as majestic as this should never be in bondage just for sport or whatever. He deserves to roam free.
If you fail, and my Dune Shadow is killed, what then?
Then you may take my life as a trade.
Sure.
We will not fail.
Tell me, Shifter. This massive bird looks down on you. You've shifted, obviously, into this camel. What do you know of Shellin?
What do I know of Shellin, Ian?
Well, you did really
Maybe
bad
a
on your
religion
knowledge
check?
religion check. Yeah, so
Oh.
right now, Jack.
Not a whole lot.
Probably not a good time for Poppy to whisper, "This is Shellin."
Oh,
Yeah.
I know not anything of her commands or her followers. All I know is that, well, I know her by name, and I have heard that she is just and kind, and that's all. I would love to
Oh,
learn
Ranger. Looking to you. You notice as Dune Shadow's been wandering, the radius of this flame has just sort of shifted over to protect him in a circle of fire. The Simurg looks at Poppy. I'll ask one last question.
What is that?
You think on this now. You fail, you die. With a ruffle.
Ian, before we get away from this,
Mhm.
I've been reminded that I have, in fact, met Shellin's sister. Would I put those two pieces together?
Probably not. Probably not Waldorf.
Okay.
He wouldn't
Okay.
know. But the Shellin thing it rings a bell. It does.
The name definitely sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I needed to ask.
If you go free, I continue to watch my Dune Chateau. But if you fail my question, and the bird gets really close to you, that uncharismatic face, its little slits for eyes, you die.
Waldorf about jumps out of his skin.
Ah. We're gonna cut away before this question. Godkiller, you need to see a doctor. Midday tryouts were fine. It was okay. I wanted to ask, what are some of the rules you've instituted now in your stay? How have things been going?
So, sorry, I was choking on almonds. So, Sailix has instituted that gladiator matches are non-lethal again. It doesn't matter. To fund and train a gladiator takes way too much money, time, and skill to just have them die off in a week or whatever. So he has probably set up a power structure where the secondary, tertiary people in charge are running drills with those trying to become gladiators and take part of the arena. He's also set up like taking a page out of Vesparin's book and set up like little shows to where like throughout the week that he's been in charge, gladiators now have rivals and things like that, and they've developed personalities. So when the crowd sees them, they know this gladiator. If they're an underdog, and he might stage an upset, just to make the crowd go wild and everything. But mainly the thing is, training is all the time, and there's other people that he can trust, or that he has put in places of power to interact if he's out.
Yeah, and now, in the middle of this fanfare, you notice your ears are ringing again. You can't help but
Mr.
remember that
Lavendil.
strange... And suddenly Corvus has appeared in the middle of the arena field as the announcer is going over the new rules.
You're training an army again, aren't you?
An army? No, these are not an army.
Mr. Lavendil, I've known you for a long time. This is an army.
Bird, I've known you for a month. This is...
You have known
these
me
are-
for a month, you gorgeous specimen of an elf. I, however, have known you for years.
All right. Point to you, Bird.
I'm a raven, thank you.
Point to you, Corvid.
Corvus.
Corvus, you're a pretty bird.
Well, thank you. I know.
Where is the where's Mr. Ravenswood?
You mean Rune?
Yes, Mr. Ravenswood.
My master is off learning things to help with the machinations of Ketapesh. He was too far
Right.
from me to really know where he is.
I am told by Entridal that I am in need of either a surgeon. Corvus, I guess, would notice that Sailix is sweating profusely. He does not look well. Or he says I should get somebody. I don't remember. I trust, maybe? Was that it? Where is Entridal? He said he'd be back.
What's wrong, Sailix?
I am not feeling particularly well.
You're
Corvus.
Corvus will jump on top of his head. Oh, you are a bit warm. Nice and cozy normally. Not really healthy for you, though.
Well, I'm glad you've noticed.
Can Corvus make a medicine check?
You absolutely can, Corvus.
Oh, snap.
What'd you get?
God damn. Corvus is a doctor.
Uh-oh. That would be a critical success. Interesting. Oh, Corvus. This is what you notice.
Oh my.
That's what it's called.
Oh. All right. Oh.
As Corvus is inspecting you, noticing what this is, you hear the announcer off in the far end. Well. Tryouts. I said no eviscerations. Somebody remove the corpse. And you're banned. Moves over to the podium where you are, Sailix. Trying to look stagely and present, and then leaning over to whisper to you. They're not taking to it well.
Taken to what?
He points. You just see this like massive streak of viscera and blood all over the floor of the arena. Tryouts.
Right. Well then. I'm not particularly feeling well either. All right. Time for a show. Sailix starts to slowly rise into the air.
Do not do that.
And he'll erupt his halo just to gain their attentions.
Corvus starts pecking at his head.
Oh, come on, bird! Give me like 5 seconds.
You
I have to do a job.
Stupid git.
Sailix will land on the podium, the middle of it. Right. So,
Sailix, someone's
when
poisoning
I said
you, you stupid bastard.
Oh, fuck. Right, that's the smart thing to do with the new one. Right, okay. I got it. Got it. Appreciate
You're gonna die.
Again?
Fair point, but yes.
Oh, fuck. Well, could you relay that to Rune?
No, I told you. I can't talk to him, I just know which direction he's in.
Right. Well, by the time you fly off and get to him, my body should still be warm.
You'll be dead.
Yeah. Oh. All right, you sorry sacks of shit. Who's poisoning me? Sailix will draw Leviathan.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The contests kind of just turn, like unaware that you're talking to them.
You do not want to get into a fight when you're about to die, you stupid angel.
Yeah, that's what I do. Go find Entridle.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, so you don't do that, you fucktard.
Look. Save the insults unless you're going to manifest into a gorgeous man that can cast spells. I need somebody who can help me fight.
I need some alchemical components and we can get you better. But I need you to stop talking, stop being a dumb git, and get off the stage.
This is some bullshit.
Fun fact, I know what Rune knows. I just don't have hands. But you do.
Sailix like takes a long look at his hands. He's like,
And they're still moving. So let's use them. Don't worry about thinking.
Right.
Just do.
all right. Sailix will look to the announcer and be like, have them run laps until they pass out.
Hmm.
Whoever doesn't make at least 30 isn't worth it.
Should they be eviscerated?
Try to not. If they want to keep
Try.
killing each other, just let them. Just let them know that killing is no longer sanctioned by the guild. So, what are they called again, Corvus? What is the guard?
The Zephyr God?
Yeah, the Zephyr Guard will
Punish them by death! You heard the God Killer! Killing is unsanctioned! We'll have you hanged! Now run laps! And he descends the stairs, and out of shock, fear, and confusion, the contestants give it everything they've got.
I really
To
think
train.
That's gonna be misconstrued somewhere.
It happens all the time. Right. So
You really need to get a better
Alchemy.
handle on your men. That's all I'm saying.
look, I'm being poisoned here. Can we save the lecture until
Excuses, excuses. Lead people, for fuck's
Say,
sake.
make a fortitude save for me.
after? Oh, I'm here pointing that.
Okay.
Oh.
Good idea. Good idea. Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, fuck out of here with that.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Feeling a bit better. Feeling good. Corvus, you know that something's there. Sailix is just trying to shrug off like a cold or something.
You have some gold.
What'd you say?
You have gold. Coin.
Gold.
Jingle jangles.
Gold.
Shiny things.
Right. Jingle.
Money.
I'll take your jingle jangles, and I'm sure I can get something for them.
Fun fact, I got none. It's a bit depressing, really, but, you know, it is what it is. I am just a magical bird.
I feel sad for you. Anyway, yes.
Well,
I
you
have
know, when you
gold.
come from nothing, you can't imagine you get all the twigs and berries with you.
Shame. Anyway.
I mean, what am I going to do, procreate? I'm a fucking magical bird, for fuck's sake. Now, do you have coin?
I have a talking bird. I can get coin.
I see you trying to be funny there. You're too sick to be funny. Do you have fucking coin?
Yes, I have coin, and I'm starting to wonder how magical bird tastes for dinner.
Oh, I see, I don't cook very well. I'm a bit stringy.
Lead the way, bird.
So,
Sort of.
on the subject of,
Shit. Go ahead, Ian.
as you head over, yeah, on the subject of magical birds, Poppy, you provided a question, right? The penultimate cue here.
Or you die.
Frihain Tihuet. Yes. Yes, now. Where is your nest, Ranger?
My nest. Wherever my family is.
Oh, yes.
We gotta find
Really?
one of those.
close your eyes. Ranger.
She does so.
And with the friendly bird arm around the side, he wants you to picture something. Do you intervene, Waldorf?
No.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't
Picture.
look like he's actively getting ready to like hurt her. No, he doesn't do anything.
No. Your home is burning. Now, what is that? What do you see?
The farm.
So there is a nest.
Yes.
Hmm. And you, the camel. Turns to you, Waldorf. Where is your nest?
Cameldorf looks a little choked up, actually, and kind of gives Poppy a funny look. My cabin. My cottage in Breachel. Our cottage. And he kind of looks at Poppy.
Yes. A nest. Not a place. More a thing. Not a thing. An idea. I have wonderful news for you two. Turning away dramatically, the Simurg says, neither of you will die, but I've elected to you my grace. Lay a hand on this camel, you'll be eviscerated. Now, if you go live a life that Shellin would be proud of, I'll have no quarrel. If my Dune Shadow dies or goes missing, I will find you. I will burn your nests. And I will find a new camel. As the fire just slowly dies out.
Will you or
And now
will
you may
not help us defeat the Triad to keep him safe?
Now it's you that asks a favor of me.
Oh, not a favor. Just a mutual interest. We are but two mortals. We are nothing compared to the glory of you. Your ability to protect him is far outweighs ours. If you want him safe, then we can make him safe. But we'll have to work together to do it.
I think not that Shellin would answer a prayer of yours. Should you recite her aphorisms, you could call upon my services. Do research. Pray to the god of art, and then, in a time of need, I should come. But one time, you're lucky I didn't kill you. Leave me to my camel. Notice Dune Shadow is starting to disappear into the horizon.
Very well.
Thank you.
With a sigh, just a swath of feathers turns into a puff of smoke, and then what sort of looks like a tailing fireball that sort of dissipates into the sky. You've got nothing but sand now, and a few days' travel to get back to Katapesh.
Well, hop on.
She will walk.
That's silly.
Yeah, it's
Stubborn
not.
woman.
It's not silly.
Mounting dwarf today.
Nope.
No. This transformation was my mistake, truly. But actually, let's take it back. Corvus is doing his thing, as is Poppy. But Rune, you're kind of only just begun. Flipping through these pages, yeah, I think so. You've made way to the manor. Things aren't making any more sense as they did even just a bit ago, but we've got to be getting closer, right? Magra, do you have anything you would like to say to him?
No, surely not. Forgive me, Rune. You said this was your family home?
Yes, it was. This is where I was born, raised. Just a small farm, really. But I remember it fondly. So when I had the chance to make this place, it was the only real option I had.
Right.
Are you alright, though? You seem nervous.
Again, consciously or not, she has taken a few steps away from Rune after entering the home. Do you believe in fate, Rune?
He chuckles. Oh. That is a loaded term,
Isn't it?
given my experiences. Quite. Lady of Graves. Weaver of fate. Is not one to be trifled with. That is for sure. To some extent I do. But I have seen opportunity. Choices unmade. The varying strands. Fate can be altered if you know how.
And have you altered fate?
To some extent,
Ravenswood.
yeah. I should be dead twice over, I think. I'm not sure.
Yet you stand before me clear as day. looking the exact same as when you left my classroom.
Yeah, like I tell my family, I'm like a bad penny. A bad copper. I always turn up.
You had said that you were close to finding the answer.
Yeah. It's right there. I can smell it. Can't see it yet, but I know it's there.
And are you sure it's an answer you want to know?
Oh. That's a good question. One I have considered. If I was to turn away now, this is all I would be. A good wizard, I'm sure. Not a very great brother. But maybe I'd be better at it.
Would you do it any differently, though?
Again, choices not made. There was a path. Path I, to some extent, thank you for. I knew something was possible, and I spent every day trying to find it, trying to figure it out. There's been some sacrifice. I knew there would be. And I felt the ramifications of those choices, to some extent. But this is where I am now. This is who I've chosen to be. I've had a glimpse at other options. But this is where I am now.
I'm glad that you're still so committed to the pursuit.
Are you? You still seem scared. I can take you back if you don't want to be here.
She's silent for a moment as if considering that. But instead will shake her head. No, both of us have given our lives in the pursuit of knowledge. We've forsaken everything to find answers. And I feel like I'm close to an answer of my own.
I ask what you were searching for.
Nightmares.
Why nightmares?
She will turn to sort of begin walking around the house, almost looking like she's in a familiar type place. I feel that I've been here before, but I know that I've never stepped foot in your house. while I was in the Wongi Expanse, I don't know, Rune, there was something there that I felt was about to swallow my entire being, my soul, my essence. I'm not quite sure, but it all leads back to one thing.
And that would be? He says with a very placid, almost expectant look on his face.
The Ravenswood.
Ted Cox. What did you say?
It looks like she tries to say the word again, but is unable to. She opens her mouth to speak, and it's just silent.
Professor, please, what did you say? His face growing concerned.
Yeah, her face is growing cold.
Professor,
Rune, it's looking like she can't breathe either.
Ravenswood? Did you say she can't breathe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, can Rune see, can Rune tell anything? Is there
Yeah,
There's
I mean, you
something
can
you
make a
can
medicine
do?
check. Do you have any spell to cast?
I mean, the status would be the only thing off the top of my head, but he doesn't have that in particular.
Mm.
He will do, given this, he will do guidance on himself. So, as a point of note, Magra might recall he had two very, very crisp amber-colored eyes, but only one of them is colored amber now. The other is a deep sort of midnight purple. And it is that one that sort of shines and goes pupilless. And there is this wave of divine energy, for lack of a better term, that sort of settles on Rune.
Seeing this, she actually stumbles backwards, tripping over that low table in front of the hearth.
Ah,
Mm.
no such luck on that roll.
No.
So yeah, he'll go and catch her or help her if he can, and just start looking her over, trying to figure out, feeling around her throat to see if there's anything there, if there's something that's pressing on it, or anything of that sort.
Strangely, the moment he places his hand on her throat, she just gasps, like, finally able to breathe again.
Are you all right, Professor?
Why are you doing this to me, Rune?
He takes a couple steps back. Professor, I'm not sure what you mean.
No, I shouldn't be here.
Yes, of course. I understand. He'll offer to help her up, though he's not quite expecting her to take it. Whether or not
flinch.
she does, so he'll step away, and his hand will sort of gesture to the door, which will open. Please, Professor, you are, of course, welcome to leave as you see fit. I did not mean to scare you.
There are many things in this world that I don't understand, Rune. And she is sort of leaning against her own staff, as though to support herself. So much that I don't understand. But I do not know how you can be.
I understand. If you find you need a place to rest and stay, please go to Cantargo. Find the Alabaster Academy. Just let them know I sent you there. You'll always have a place to stay. You have my word.
She begins to very quietly weave a spell of her own, taking a step back away from the doorway. Runes along her staff in this sort of emerald green color alighting as this warm breeze begins to circle around her. Everywhere I go, there is word of you. And almost as though her robes sort of fold in on themselves over and over and over again, with this soft sort of whooshing sound, she teleports away.
Rune just sort of looks at the ground where she was, and there's a tear on his cheek. And for all intents and purposes, completely forgetting why he'd come to Starfall, he'll grab his staff, exit, and similarly teleport back to Katapesh.
Ooh, where do you land in Katapesh?
Likely the safe house.
Excellent. Traddle's not there. The Vesparin's not there. Nobody's there. You're the only one. Who are you looking for?
Well, he's effectively calling out to his ravens to find out where they are.
What do you glean from that? Well, of course, Corvus is with Sailix.
With 6 Sailix. Corvus like, oh, the master's back. He's so wily, that master of mine.
Sailix is just staring at Corvus.
Go on, pick up the bottle.
Make a fortitude save for me, Sailix. What did we get? 34? Okay. You're starting to feel bad again. It's starting to feel a little bit, a little rough. But you make your way to the,
right now?
You've just arrived. Ding! Go to the bells. Yeah, it hits just as just before you get there.
So as like the wave of sickness hits, like Sailix just kind of like falls against the entranceway of the shop. He's like, right. Well, we're here.
Corvus will peck at his head. Come on,
Right.
get your ass
right.
together. Get your wits about you. Don't wave at me. Focus on balance.
The woman at the counter, elegant from headdress to shoes. There's an air of superficiality to her. It's not matched by the decor of the herbalist shop. It's not. It's pretty bare bones, unlike her attire. First thing she says, really to poison the well of any good-spirited conversation. His kind, whatever he has, I'd rather not cure it. I'd rather not catch it. You.
That's very sweet of you. Pardon me. I've been instructed to be nice. Ma'am,
Apparently to everybody.
proprietor of this fine establishment, would you please pull out some butterfly wings, some essence of ginger, and some manifold root, please? Yes is the appropriate answer.
To note. Well, all right. What have we? With a hand, a prestidigitation. Provided the ingredients on the counter.
Oh, how quaint. Thank you.
Is it enough to peck at, sir?
Sir, sir, it's
Birdington.
perfectly fine. Thank you.
Sir Birdington. I like that name. It suits Sir Birdington just fine. How much do we owe you?
Does he collect coins now? Or would it be you? The other one with the wings.
Are you talking about the Celestial or myself? In fairness, we do both like shiny things, just like you do as a proprietor of this fine shop. That's nice to say, right?
Yeah.
3 even.
Oh, good.
3 even.
3 copper? 3 silver? Details, please.
Offended that you couldn't assume. I take gold, bird.
Oh, that was perfectly
Birdington.
potty answer. Thank you very much.
Sir Birdington. To you. And Sailix
Just
will
give
set
give her the coin.
gold on the counter.
Pick them up.
Sailix starts picking up stuff. Shellen's tits, woman. You think you have better service with paying here.
Oh, I love this angel. I concur. Have a terrible evening, ma'am.
What did you say your name was? Celestial.
Oh.
Well, Celeste is fine, I suppose.
Celeste.
I
Celeste the
believe I
Celestial.
recognize you.
Oh,
No,
you?
no, you...
That's a shame.
Something of a reputation. Are you okay?
Right. I've been better. I'm pleased that you are now trying to strike up conversation after we've paid.
We need to go find water
so-
and alcohol. And some fire.
Okay. Apparently I'm off to
You are
attack.
dying.
Birdington? Shush. Anything else you would need, ma'am?
Stop being cordial. We've done business. Move along.
Right.
I have solvents, if that's what you're after.
Sailix just kind of looked to Corvus like, eh.
Free of charge for you.
Hold on one moment.
They're free the way I get them.
In Sailix's head, not out loud. Have we been mean to her?
Rude, maybe, not mean. We paid.
All right, rude.
We didn't light anything on fire.
We'll say no to
He's
the
still breathing.
solvent. That's fair. Good sign overall. I'd still recommend no to the solvent.
Right, got it. Sailix will put another gold on the counter. He's like, this one is so you don't see us.
Hmm.
You have a nice
Very
night.
well.
And they'll walk out. Well, Sailix will kind of stumble out. Ooh.
Yeah.
Corvus, on the way out, Corvus will turn and will just do this ridiculous little like bird dance. His wings will go out. And it's like he's mocking this woman in his own way. He's just sort of like back and forth. He's like, boogie boogie.
Amazing.
Someone clip that. I need it.
No, we're not doing it.
Woogie boogie.
Only seriousness. All right, Waldorf, you're in camel form. You're arriving at the gates of Katapesh.
Would have gotten here sooner
Poppy.
if someone had wanted to ride, but that's okay, I suppose.
You've been complaining for the last 5 miles.
I mean, you're just so slow.
And you're a camel again. Who says when you're gonna change back? It's
Exactly.
fine, we're here.
I mean, okay. I'll just wait out here then.
Talk. Why would you wait out here?
Because I'm a camel.
Can she clearly
Yes, there's
see
a
that there are camels within the gate?
Oh, I thought we were.
There
gonna
are
say-
camels. Yeah, so you have a pretty straight shot to the straight house from here. It's only a couple blocks away. There aren't camels between here and the safe house. This close to the gate. As the safe house is pretty close. But you do see there's a place for camels and some horses. You can hear a horse in distress, actually, within the stables.
Is a horse in distress?
Maybe. Just, you know, there's a lot of distress, but
Of course.
You can't say that and then it's just going to the
What do you do, Poppy?
stables.
okay. Waldorf, what about you?
Cameldorf is just like plodding along behind her.
Excellent. You arrive, a family. They're having trouble. This horse appears to be dehydrated pretty severely. It was a
Does she
short
have-
trip, and now she's not well. The father, who owns the stables, will say to you. He recognizes you as someone of authority here on horses pretty immediately.
May I look at her? But she's like already like hopping the fence.
Yeah, make a nature check.
I have to ask you to roll, but I'm like, yeah. she knows that it's dehydrated, so she will first like
26.
give it water from her own water skin.
Yep. Yeah.
Can I attempt to cast Create Water as a camel?
Do not spit into my water skin.
You'll be
a
outed very
somatic
quickly,
and
I imagine.
Okay, then I would be.
You can. I mean, you can.
Not the
Do you think
best
so?
idea. Only if I can do it surreptitiously, where like nobody will notice that it's the camel casting the spell.
Please.
You know, like for the somatic component, just gonna like scratch it in the dirt with my little like camel hoof.
Yeah.
Just chew.
And then for the verbal component, just gonna like mutter it under my breath. I would imagine that there would be a chance, like a high chance of failure, just because I don't have hands.
Yeah. You know what? Odds or evens. If it's even, if it's even, you've got it.
Nope.
That's an odd number.
Oh.
Hmm.
Someone is gonna steal
No
my
water.
camel.
I just spit.
You seem experienced. Anything. I'm a camel merchant. I don't know.
A horse needs a lot more water than a camel does. Where's the nearest water trough?
Not far from here, I imagine. Open market. Just across the road.
She is looking for like a bridle, a rope to lead the horse out. You need to learn more about horses if you're going to be in this sort of trade.
Right. I will listen. And then this man will look at the camel. Waldorf, do you do anything? You've not spoken yet, have you?
No, I have not. I would like to step on his foot, though.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was my fault. Let's go, please.
Yeah, and then like along the way, as she's leading the horse, she's like instructing him that horses need like 5 to 10 gallons of water a day. Fresh feed, you in this sort of heat, even more than that. Just like very much like reprimanding him.
Yeah,
Dorf,
and
come
he
on.
just has no idea. Absolutely no idea.
Waldorf is following, despite not being on any sort of like lead or, no harness, no bridle. He just follows her everywhere she goes, which might be kind of odd for a camel.
No.
Yeah. It's up there. Okay.
He's
now,
a very well-trained camel.
Sailix, where are you headed? You're headed to the safe house now, is that correct?
Yeah.
Sailix. You arrive. Rune is there. I don't know if he's preparing to head out anywhere, but
No, Rune would have known
And Trial
that,
isn't, he's-
Corvus was returning, so he would have stayed.
yeah. Do you say anything, dear wizard?
I will say, well,
Sailix
for
comes.
just a quick description.
Sorry, go ahead.
When Sailix returns, Rune looks very just down. He's just had a bad day.
All right, so Sailix coming in the door, just kind of seeing Rune. He's got like ingredients in his hand. He just stops. He's like,
I understand you're sick, Mr. Lavendil.
Word travels fast. I don't know which one of you are
Magical.
saying that right now, but I'm sure.
His hand will fan out as the ingredients sort of float over.
I'm sure. Like he just watches it flow. I'm sure it doesn't matter. But
He pulls out a water skin and a bottle of grain alcohol, basically, and a little fire just sort of lights in front of him as he pours the water into a vial or a beaker. He will hand over a little bowl and put the two roots in there, while slipping the butterfly wings into the water itself. Corvus begins sort of pecking at the roots, very roughly grinding them down to some extent. He'll look at the work and nod, take a sniff, take a few pieces, put it on his tongue. The water is beginning to bubble at this point. He adds a little bit of alcohol and the herbs in there. And goes on. He lets the whole mixture sit on there for about 5 minutes or so. And then the flame disappears and he grabs the bottle out of the air, just hands it over to Sailix. Drink this. We'll need to make some more, but that should at least subside the immediate issue.
Sailix kind of eyes the bottle warily, and he looks up between Corvus and Rune. He's like,
Mr. Lavendil, you are the strongest of us. If I was to want to kill you, it would certainly not be this way. I need you alive.
he'll take it back like a shot. Right. That is by far the most foul-tasting thing I have had in my mouth in decades.
Yes, your dreams tonight are going to be a little weird. I just want you to know this.
Well, I'll add them to the list of other weird things that have happened to me. Now, Sailix will kind of stand up, or try to stand up, stumble, sit back down. Making points is not going to come easy from down here, so you have to forgive me. Why do you look so shit on?
His face sort of scrunches up a bit and he shakes his head. Oh, I didn't quite find what I was looking for. That's all right. Not all research ends up where you want it to. I think I at least have enough information to work with.
Sailix like side eyes Corvus to like is he telling the truth or is he lying to me right now?
Corvus just sort of snaps at his beak. I don't know what you're looking at me for. Figure it out for yourself.
You're the worst bird.
I'm not really a bird, so yes, you're right.
Sailix throws the empty vial at Corvus. Like, he doesn't, like, try to wing it to, like, indirect.
Yeah.
He just in the general direction. Right. I've done research before, or I assume, and I don't know if it's different for wizards, but I assume that I've never come back like the world has just taken me by the short and curlies and dangled me over a ledge.
I think I understand what you're getting at, and it is a bit different for wizards. So we'll just leave it at that.
Right.
It's sort of like going into an arena fight, and I mean it's an okay fight. You win in the end, but you really feel bad for winning. Like, you were clearly the superior fighter, and while the fight was okay, the other person just didn't necessarily have the skills, so you're just disappointed in the whole affair.
Okay, I'm following you. I'm following.
I know.
Right. So, I have just the thing. I've been told by Intridal that I used to play this all the time. And Sailix will take out a board game, and he'll sit it down and he's like, let's see how great you are at tactics. And it's a simple game that they would play in the thing. It's Sailix's attempt to get his mind off of whatever it is until this concoction either knocks him out or he passes out on his own.
I want to ask, what's Marikai doing right now?
Marikai? Well, has Marikai found Saeed?
What would Marikai could speak to you now? Is that correct? Now that you've
That is
returned?
Yeah.
Marikai has been pestered by someone who says he's quite close with people that she's looking for. Katapeshi dwarf named Wahar. Yeah. All lines point to him instead of anyone that you need to find, it seems. Frustratingly, right?
Alright. So as far as Marikai can figure at this point, we have to go through Wahar to get to Saeed. Is that the short of it?
Sounds like it. Sounds like, yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, every time you look for Saeed, you find Wahar.
So at that point, we'll just have her come back to the safe house as well. And, well, actually, let me rephrase that. He will send her to Wahir. Wahar. Yeah, so she will go to Wahar.
All right. Sailix, I want you to make another fortitude save for me. It's easier now. Good job. Good job. You feel like you're fighting this thing off. But Poppy and Waldorf, you're wandering about the city, trying to make this horse better. Waldorf, what's going through your mind right now?
Oh, so many things. Waldorf is brooding. The conversation about nests brought a few questions up in Waldorf's mind. More specifically, the way that Poppy answered that question. He is he's a little butthurt right now.
I know. Paradise is lost, isn't it? Now-
Daniel has a look on his face.
No, she's just Poppy.
Make another medicine check
maybe-
as we deliver. We
Can't
deliver the
throw
horse.
plasma wig.
The water.
Medicine check. Or
Yeah.
nature check.
Let's do nature. It's the man. You can tell the sun is violent on his skin. He wraps every inch that he can when in Katapesh. The horse is suffering just as much.
The horse. She's been like whispering to the horse the whole way. Too.
If nobody
Yeah.
has ever seen a camel sulk before, but
Make a deception check
Camel
for me.
is sulking. Who, me?
Yeah. So,
Deception. Oh shit.
Right
not even
this way.
trained in Deception. Not bad. Waldorf's a really
my
bad liar.
colleague. Technically, they would have his hand if they knew. He's not to give me water, but he'll give me a favor. It's this way.
I mean, Poppy just goes.
Yeah. The camel too. He seems thirsty. He sort of looks at Waldorf. Waldorf, do you look thirsty?
I spit.
I mean, the camel goes wherever I go.
Okay. This way. Come,
Camel
come.
kind of hesitates for a second and then follows.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious.
Oh yeah,
This dude
but
is suspect. Waldorf, as Waldorf is following Poppy, he's hanging back a bit, trying to take in as much of the picture as possible, and is kind of.
So this would be your first
he's
time
on
in
edge.
Katapesh, right? This would be your first time in Katapesh. You've just now visited.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're led along. You've never even seen really pictures of Katapesh. They don't really exist. It's hard to map such a massive place. Led around about a half a block before you're you find the spot. Come. They don't know we're here. They have food. Truthfully, I
Try and,
feed
like,
my family here.
Whisper to Poppy without him hearing me.
It's a hard
You know,
check.
big camel head kind of like just clunks down on Poppy's shoulder, you know, and just kind of out of the corner of the mouth, just, I don't trust this guy. What would I roll to keep him from hearing?
Deception.
Or stealth?
I could see stealth.
Because I'm not trying to like deceive him. I'm trying to keep him from like. I'm just trying to whisper quiet enough for him not to hear. That'll do.
Okay, perfect. That's 20. I think that would do. What do you do, Poppy?
I mean, the horse looks really bad, right? I think she could see like from
Horse is out.
Can she do like a quick perception check on this guy?
Yeah.
All right. I have it now.
Yeah. What are you trying to gather? What are you trying to glean?
Mother Nutty's full of shit.
I think she just wants to know if he's actually trying to help the horse.
It's a trap.
It's nuanced, isn't it?
Smells like a trap.
You got a 40. Yeah.
Okay,
Genuinely,
she follows him.
what you get from him. Okay, excellent. No, that's good. Great. Down along a building. It looks to be a shop of some sort, but this is truly like a back entrance. But it's wide. You can move cargo through here. It's into a large domed building, but it's only when that back door shuts that it gets extremely dark. Your eyes adjust for a moment. Oh, I hate the heat. Apologies. I'm looking out for my family, you know. What brings you to Katapesh?
Just looking for my brother.
Your brother. Does your family, they struggle like mine?
We get by. Did you say that there was water here, though?
Pulls the head wrap, and you notice he's not quite from here. You knew he wasn't from here. You wouldn't recognize the blonde hair or the beard. His face means nothing to you. All you see, though, once the wrappings have gone away, what's produced is short, jagged little blade. He stares at you. Oh. Fucking family, right? He'll sort of lean back on that wall behind him, just sort of kind of casually guarding the entrance into the building. You've really never been here. Katapesh, is that correct?
First time stepping foot.
I don't know why you travel alone. It's idiotic, but... Anything from you? At all, Ravenswood?
She looks surprised that he knows her name.
Waldorf moves closer.
How?
No, we're not asking questions now. We're getting some payback. I'm not monologuing. I'm cutting. I'm gonna cut away to Rune, Sailix. Rune, Wahar is extremely annoying, at least for Marikai. Okay. All right. You're muted, but maybe it's a good thing.
Trying
might
to
have
keep
been on
myself from
purpose.
murdering you, Ian.
That's fine.
Wahar, continue. Difficult. Pain in my ass. Just like my GM.
Oh, well. Huh. I've said it 1,000 times. If you're looking for the Packmasters, you're looking in the wrong place.
You're absolutely right.
Mm.
You are not the one I want to talk to. I need to talk to Saeed.
You don't know that. I represent the unseen hand.
Congratulations. Where is Saeed?
Thanks. It was hard earned. Saeed. Ah. I'll ask again. Why did you seek him?
Because Saeed oversees who gets to request audience with
Oh.
Packmasters.
Oh. The Packmasters don't do anything. The unseen hand is the one thing that gets them up in the morning. So,
You're telling me the unseen hand controls the Packmasters?
no, they hate us. We're the thorn in their side.
Congratulations. Can you get me in front of the Packmasters?
You work with us. The Packmasters come to you.
Unseen hand. Are you based out of here or somewhere else?
We've no business anywhere but Katapesh.
Can Rune roll a society check to assess the unseen hand?
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
The Packmasters could see had it not be for their eyes shut, closed permanently. We are not the same. The unseen hand sees all.
Are you the
No.
all-seeing eye or the unseen hand?
I know a bit about you. I know your kin's in danger. You do well. Seek him out.
Rune's body, his stance just sort of stiffens. I need you to do me a favor and choose your next words very carefully. If my kin is in danger, tell me where.
I've nothing to do with it. Round here.
I don't give a
Choosing
shit.
me.
Tell me where.
Meet me in person. Bring a map.
Where are you?
So I think through Marakai, you should know.
Rune will look at Sailix. Mr. Lavendil, we must be off.
We
And,
you got a mouse in your pocket? Like, do you summon mice as well as ravens, or are you taking Corvus? Or is
In
we
a
you?
dramatic puff of feathers, they are dimension doored to Marakai.
Oh, what the fuck?
Perfect. Yeah, Sailix.
And Rune will
You're just,
produce a map. Now again,
All right.
choose your next words very carefully.
Nope. No time to waste at all. I'll cut to it. And with that, I'm going to cut by the gate on initiative order. Our friend Uri goes first, then Poppy, then Dwarf. I don't think either of you have hero points, but you could spend them if you would like. If they're granted at any point, you could use it towards initiative. That's all I'm going to say. But for now, Uri approaches you. Waldorf, do you have an attack of opportunity?
I do not. I don't think. That's a feat, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
He'll move
Don't
towards
have it.
you. Poppy. Jagged little knife in hand. You know what?
No.
He'll kick the door open. Double just sunlight spilling in. You can leave. Come on. He'll stand in the doorway. I'm not taking any lives today, Poppy Ravenswood. I think this is threat enough. Poppy, it's your turn. What do you do?
Confused. What quarrel do you have with my brother?
Maybe I've decided it's between myself and your brother. You can leave. I can change my mind. Bad blood. You know?
Dwarf?
Waldorf just like nudges her with his nose, like towards the door.
Yeah, she'll start walking out.
Okay. It's a 56 to hit, Poppy. Pretty immediately, you will be able to react to this in a way, whatever way you would like, Waldorf. But this is passing. He takes the blade and gently flicks it so gracefully as an arcing downward motion. It just bounces off her shoulder. She does not realize her ear is gone. Some hair falls to the floor. And he's holding it. Now you can leave. You've got 3 actions. Waldorf, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a trampoline.
Okay.
I'm going full buck wild camel on his ass.
Yeah.
Actually, if you check the Discord, you'll see a GIF of a camel throwing somebody.
Okay. Yeah, that's an athletics
I would like
check.
to do that. Is that with the camel stats or with mine? That's a 43.
Okay. 43 hits. Wow. You're throwing as in repositioning. You're throwing down the hall. Is that correct?
I want to throw him into something that's going to break. Like if
Okay.
there's a
Yeah,
cabinet
smashed.
something nearby.
Yeah, there is a
I
vase
wanna
where
put him
this
through a
hallway opens
wall,
up.
basically.
Just busted through. You have you've got 2 actions left. What do you do?
I'm going after him.
Okay.
If he's on the ground,
follow
I want to
through?
like rear up both front feet straight into his skull.
He's gonna look you dead in the eye before you do it. Last chance.
Your first mistake was thinking that she was alone.
She will be. Make your attack.
What would that just be? Straight strength? Melee?
Yeah, make it as a melee attack.
Where's my... Oh, oops. Wrong one.
Yeah, with a good proficiency, it still is a miss. Not by too much, but it is a miss. If you hit him, the damage just isn't there. He's gonna get up. Oh!
I still have one more action, don't I?
No, yeah. Actually, no, because you didn't have that far to move after you. Well, did you throw him through a wall?
Oh, I guess I did, so I would have had to move to get to him. So, yeah. That's it for me.
He's gonna get up. Apologize.
I just have this like seething camel in front of him. I'll apologize to your corpse. When you're dead.
Scimitar just pops out. The first strike. A critical hit. 61 points of damage.
My man Waldorf is not looking good.
Slaver corpse. He looks at you. Scimitar out. He's ready to just...
Let her go.
Oh, she's gone. Maybe we don't need Dune Shadow. Yeah. Maybe we just need you. Fuck, they'll be coming soon anyway. He's gonna use Swift Capture at a plus 36. So the total is 41 to hit. To grab you in camel form. Is it 42 with your shield?
Oh, it's only a 38 with my shield.
Oh, okay. Well, that with that we'll say you're captured.
Oh wait, no, sorry, 40 with a shield.
Okay, I want to ask briefly before we Poppy. Is this your chance to go? The hideout is 2 blocks away. Is this go to the hideout, or is this try to save? The hideout is literally 2 blocks away.
Does she know where the hideout's at?
Yeah, you came here. Well, actually, you were informed of where the hideout would be because you were sent instructions how to come back.
Waldorf just calls out to her, run.
She's not gonna leave Dwarf. God.
Go!
No, she draws her bow.
Okay.
Oh, you're in trouble now,
Okay.
dude.
Just telling Dwarf not to be a bloody idiot. As like blood is like streaming down, staining the entire like left side of her clothing. Blood is really bright and blonde hair. Satan.
If I wasn't a freaking camel, this dude would be done for.
All right. Okay. So, let's cut.
Oh, I hate
Rune
you.
and Sailix, you arrive to speak with Wahar. So, what were we talking about again?
But to the chase.
Right. Right. The unseen hand has it. No, we've done that. Your sister?
I will pull it from your mind if I have to.
No need. Yes, Sailix.
Sailix got a 37 for an intimidation check. He doesn't know what's going on but he just got teleported here, and he's not in a good mood.
By your hideout. Stoneworks. They'll mark it on your map if you have one.
Who?
Triad. It's all I know.
He's gone. Taking Sailix to the location.
Taking Sailix. Is Marikai here still?
Yes, Marikai will stay behind with Wahar to keep an eye on him.
He doesn't trust me. Ugh.
No, he doesn't.
Well, I saved lives today. Not pressed.
We'll see.
Really. Back over. Poppy, you attacking this guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've got a high AC to land there. Go ahead and make your attacks.
Alright, is there someone to throw it at, or just...
Just throw it into the void.
Ooh, my favorite. Okay.
Nope. Ah.
Yay, nay?
We'll say yeah. We'll say yeah.
Tease.
You moved in for an action, and you made 2 attacks. One lands in the shoulder.
Next one will go through your skull if you don't let him go.
No, it won't. You'd probably have an ear if you knew what this spell was. You notice he's dissolving from the feet up. Contingency, sweetie. And yes, this was a warning. I'll kill all of you.
Poppy has
Do you have a reaction?
wand of disrupt magic.
Well, it seems the reaction is a little bit quick. You can try. Let's see, because you're out of actions.
It's true.
When next I see you, I will eat your heart.
Bye-bye, Camel.
I will see
He vanishes
you again.
just as you're drawing. Just as you're drawing that wand, he's gone. Your ear, gone with him. Rune, describe how you arrive.
The typical theatrics are almost gone as Rune just appears with Sailix nearby out of nowhere. Just the barest of image of feathers sort of dissipating, and the area around just sort of almost as if this sort of wave of power erupts from where he appeared. Immediately upon seeing the scene, he will drop his staff and hold his hands up in a bit of a prayer as his the purple eye again goes pupilless, and there's just this wave of divine energy that sort of pulsates out from him as he attempts to heal everyone in the area. Wrong spell list.
What happens when
Great
you get
idea.
involved in
Let's see. Dwarf, Poppy, Sailix, Self. I'll get
Get me out of this body.
40 hit points. As he's almost impaired, but he doesn't really say much of anything. His fingers sort of spread apart, and there's this just arc of energy going between his palms as he just pushes his hands outward, and again there's just that wave of divine energy that sort of pulses from him, flowing over everybody in the area. His eye, as I noted, is pupilless, and then he blinks again, and it's back to normal once it's done. As he looks at the camel, runs to Poppy because there's blood everywhere.
All over the floor. Yep.
And staff is on the ground. He looks over at Sailix. Mr. Lavendil, if you would please look at the camel. Door?
It's me, Rune.
Oh,
Sailix is like,
All right.
throws his hands up. You know what? Talking birds, talking camels, fucking flying through time and space. Why not? I got a 39.
I was a badger, now I'm a camel. Let's move past
I
it
got
and
a
let's keep going.
39 to check out the wounds on the camel to stem the
Don't
bleeding.
worry about me.
If
Help her.
Sailix grabs Dor's face, smacks it, like grabs the camel's face, smacks it, it's like, shut up.
I bite him.
So he'll smack him again. Stop it. You're being a bad patient. Sailix spits on him. We can do this all day. Stop it.
It just like
Rune
you've
will-
never been glared at by a camel before.
Poppy will just, Dwarf, stop.
Did you notice there's blood
Dorf,
all
Dorf
down
is
her
trying
neck?
to get to Poppy. Waldorf is trying to get to Poppy.
Sailix is holding Dorf back while he's checking him
He's
out. Like
shouldering
there's
Sailix and trying to like.
only room for one person to do this at a time. You are a camel. If you were in a regular body, I would let you through. But until you are back to normal, you are no use. You need hands
to do stitches. Not whose.
If I could cast a spell, we wouldn't have to worry about stitches.
Yeah, and I have clever jokes that I'm not going to say because of polite company.
Rune, what do you do?
I mean, 50-50 chance you could hear me.
If you make a camel toe joke right now, I swear to Christ, on a cracker, I'm going to put you through a wall.
While those two are bantering at each other over who's gonna help or not help Poppy, Rune, not even really asking for her permission, just sort of grabs her by the head, not forcefully, but does sort of shift it to the side and looking at the damaged ear. What happened?
Poppy will jerk away from him.
He lets her go.
Rotten bastard.
Get to her feet. The same bloody thing that happened in Cantargo just happened here. Everywhere I go, the name Ravenswood just brings nothing but trouble.
He winces. Aye, it does. Is there anything I can do, Poppy?
You're the reason I can't even really use my real name.
I understand.
Everything bad that has happened to our family. And she just like has tears streaming down her face.
Cloak is basically red now.
It's been your fault.
Rune he can't even really look at her. His face is very expectant. Sort of. He's clearly been waiting for these words in some fashion. His hand reaches out to his staff. You're not wrong, Poppy, in any way. I have made these choices, and they have affected everyone I care about.
Do you care about us, Rune?
Poppy.
He just smiles.
Don't Poppy me, dwarf.
He wouldn't be here if he didn't care, love.
No, he's here because he doesn't care. We're halfway
He looks at
across the world from our family because you don't care about him.
his eyes are sort of darting back and forth. There's kind of shifting in his stance a bit.
Sailix kind of goes up and stands closer behind Rune. He doesn't meet Poppy's eyes, but he just kind of lowly says, "Family's not always the one that you're born to."
So he found himself a new family.
Rune will put his staff up to Sailix as his stance sort of straightens, and he gets this very emotionless look across his face. Madam Ravenswood, you are quite correct. I have done you a disservice. I shall depart and allow you to, clean yourself up. Good day, Madam Ravenswood. And Rune will walk out.
Poppy just sort of falls to her knees, sobbing, but will shout after Rune's retreating figure, "Is that all you have to say to me?"
He stops at the door and turns his head. Poppy, I will continue to make choices that will hurt you and my family. I don't want to do that. I'm Rune. I'm just Rune.
It's in this moment of anger and anguish, and you can tell after she says the words that she immediately regrets them, but she'll just shout out at him, "Never call yourself a Ravenswood again."
As you wish.
And she'll just kind of bury her face in her hands.
Rune will turn the corner and disappear.
Sailix, not one to pass up a moment to make a moment worse, kneels down on his haunches in front of Poppy, kind of pries one of her hands from her face, presses something cold into her palm, closes her fingers around it. The problem with being powerful is you don't get to choose what gets destroyed and left in your wake. All you do is you try to pick up the pieces and keep moving on. I'll take care of Rune, like the monster in the cave took care of the farmer. Just make sure to stand clear of the chaos. And he'll kind of gently pat her head and stand up. It was a pleasure knowing you, Miss Ravenswood. Ava. Live a good life. He'll walk out the door.
What's in her hand?
Yeah.
When she looks down, it is a pocket watch with a raven on it.
Nobody sees Waldorf as he becomes a dwarf again. He's standing in the rubble of the broken wall, watching all of this happen. And as Sailix walks out the door, he just walks up behind Poppy and places a hand on her shoulder. With that, I'm actually going to cast Regenerate, which will restore Poppy's lost ear.
Yep.
The bleeding stops. The ear regrows. He doesn't say anything. He just, well, I mean, other than the words for the spell, he just stands there next to her with his hand on her shoulder.
Yeah, she just sort of puts her own hand up over the top of his and is still just crying. Torn between chasing after her brother or not.
Sailix sealed the exit with a crystal wall.
Rude. Okay.
You don't get that choice anymore.
I think you may have been too hard on him, love. Remember, if it wasn't for him, you never would have found me again. He sought me out for you. It's not fair to say that he doesn't care. I think after traveling with that man for as long as I have now, I think he cares more. I think he cares more than the rest of us put together. I think that's his problem, is that he cares too much. And he takes on too much. He needs us. He needs his family there to help him carry that load. You never give up on family, even if they give up on you. You know that. You taught me that. Let's go home. Let's go home.
We came here to help them.
Hey, we did. But I don't think we're going to be much help now. It's up to you. We can stay if you like.
Or if you can
But
stay.
let's, no. Love. Where you go, I go. He kind of looks longingly at the door that's now blocked off, almost like he's wishing he could go after them too. And then he looks back down at her. No. Where you go, I go.
Let's just go to sleep.
Aye, but not here. This place isn't safe.
She'll slowly stand up and just start shuffling towards some sort of side door, off into like an alleyway that's...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Arm around
She's
her knee.
just...
Yeah, he's got an arm around her and is like kind of letting her lean on him for support.
Yeah, she's heading in the opposite direction that she saw Rune go. I'm just gonna
Excellent.
try and find an inn.
Perfect. And in the direction Rune went.
So Rune is actually on a nearby rooftop, just watching his family walk away.
Sailix over here looking like freaking John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, just where'd he go? He would fly up and try to figure out where Rune went.
I mean, from the sky, probably not too hard to spot. It's not like he's being overly stealthy. Before Sailix does arrive, though, Corvus is there, and he's just sort of kind of looks at the bird. I guess that's it then. Final choice is made. I think I may have made a mistake this time, Corvus. I think I made a mistake.
Sailix just kind of touches down that soft mechanical humming of his wings, fading out as they turn off. Hey.
Mr. Lavendil, how can I help you?
Sailix grabs his hand, and like he doesn't look at him. He's just holding his hand. He's like, "You can call me Sailix."
Not yet, Mr. Lavendil. Not yet.
Either way, Rune. Let's go home. I read in a book somewhere. Sailix kind of like yanks his hand and pulls Rune into himself and like wraps him in a hug. I read in a book somewhere. I'm bad at this. I read in a book somewhere that home is wherever you make it. It's where you're surrounded by the people that accept you for who you are. No questions asked. I'm not asking you to be something you're not. I don't want you to make the world a better place right now. All I need is a 5'11", 170-pound soaking wet wizard to accompany me back to an arena, split a bottle of wine, play a few games.
Of course, Mr. Lavendil. Please lead the way.
Right. I always forget how you magic types are the lazy kind. So Sailix scoops him up into a fireman's carry and flies off towards the arena.
Rune will slip out of said fireman's carry, just flying in the air on his own. We may be lazy, but we have magic for a reason, Mr. Lavendil.
Show off.
We fade out for everybody.
For what it's worth, Corvus is still on the roof, watching Poppy.
Where does Poppy go? Just tune in, huh?
Just tune in. Some nameless place.
Waldorf hesitates outside the door for a moment before following her in. He looks tired.
Huh?
He looks very tired.
Waldorf, you choose to protect those who you love. And for that, you serve your god. Poppy, I don't know I can say the same for you. It's only when you cross the threshold into the tavern, you hear a faint crack along the inside of Oathbow. Not to break it, but not a coincidence. Rune and Sailix will head to the Coliseum of Challenges. Somewhere in this god-forsaken city, a bad person won. And I think that's where I'm going to end off for tonight. All right. Well. Whew. Whew. Dang. Okay. All right. Ha. Sad feels over. I'm playing yakety sax. All right. Well. Man. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Let's introduce our lovely cast for the tears and the feels and the outros. Tell me how you feel. Starting, of course, with Daniel.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel. I played Sailix Lavendil tonight. It does not get to end off on an epic note like last game.
It sure doesn't.
He got to step up as the good best friend that doesn't remember the best friend and try to be there for Rune, simply because he had an emotional feeling that he should be. But yeah, no, that sucks. Anyway, if you liked what you saw here tonight, you can check us out in 1 week's time and on our YouTube channel, where you can watch all this train wreck over and over again. And I know I'm going to be doing it all week long, just to try to figure out who poisoned Sailix. I have some ideas, but come back next week and we will find out how many people he slaughters to the truth.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Fair. James, who I'm not convinced isn't Waldorf. That's transformed into James.
Oh, tonight was big feels for Waldorf on so many levels, and I am 1000% going to eat that guy's heart next time I see him. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, especially the folks in the chat room. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. That was, as usual, is awesome, and we love the support. If you want to support us more, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/pennyforatale for lots of behind the scenes and all kinds of fun stuff. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next week. This is a lot to unpack.
It sure is.
This might call for some downtime RP between Waldorf and Poppy this week, because there's a
what have I done? Yeah, there sure is. All right. Whew. The person I did the worst. Sam.
Hey, at least you still got your ear.
Yeah, I got my ear. You know, such a happy episode. I love it so much. It was hi guys, I'm Sam. I played a little bit of Magra, a little bit of Poppy. Just the happiest of all people that only brings good feelings and joy and love. And I just wanted to save a horse. That's all. It's great.
The horse was fine at the end, by the way.
Oh, good. That's all I really wanted to know. Okay.
Yep.
No animals were harmed. Okay, perfect. So I'm happy. I think this was
was very harmed.
He's okay now. It's good. Yeah, everyone is happy in the end. Perfect. Make sure you check us out on Friday the 13th for a Fallout Roundtable.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
Indeed.
with some pretty
Weave the
cool
Tail.
people. I'm Weave the Tail. You'll be seeing some posts from us, but there are a lot of big names for the Fallout community that will be on that roundtable, including this guy up here. He's okay. You know. Yeah, he's not even there anymore, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, whoever that is, you know, along with Jonathan Fry, April Stiletto, the Stiletto DM that runs the GM of the Vault, Three-Eyed Townie, and a bunch of other people. So keep your eyes out for that. Other thing, check out Weave the Tail on Twitter for our Discord link, and make sure you join in for season casting. It is the Penny for a Network Discord, so you'll find everything for Age of Ashes there, everything for Weave the Tail there, and just all our fantastic content. So yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to the random guy that's after me. That
Rune.
we should probably change his name. Yeah.
Rune, no surname. Hasn't figured that part out.
Hurry up.
What is the name now, huh?
He is Rune. That's it for now. Hello. I'm Mr. Smith. I played Rune. Just Rune. I'm gonna tangent here just a second. So when I create a character, I have this process called the rule of 3. 3 allies, 3 enemies, 3 places or things of interest. I would say 2 allies have been completely removed from the list. Both of them have basically told him they don't want to talk to him anymore. So yeah, there's that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Rune.
If you enjoyed all these feels, and the depression ride that is going to be Rune for this foreseeable future, feel free to come check us out again. I'm sure it'll be entertaining somewhere along the line.
I'm in your
but yes,
corner, buddy.
please spread the word that we truly love the drama here. I think we live by it. It is our life's blood, and it will eventually kill us. Definitely come check us out. Spread the word that we're all the feels and all the dramas over here. Give us a little bit of a follow if you're so inclined. Feel free to subscribe. Your follows and subscriptions help out in the campaign in the end. The more followers we get on Twitch, let's say, the more followers we get within the game itself. So please spread the word. We'll need all the help we can get because Lord knows Rune, formerly of the Ravenswood, is probably just going to wallow in self-pity for the foreseeable future.
That's what you think.
He can foresee a good amount of future, too. All right. Well,
Don't worry, I'll talk to her.
That leaves me. And I'm pretty sure I did nothing wrong. So, I don't know. That's just my take on it. Thank you so much for watching. Music tonight was Michael Ghelfi and Rock Narden, as well as Ulva Song. I'll drop a link to them in the show notes. They're super cool. Really good moody Rune Ravenswood vibes there for a second. But yeah, and then catch us for episode 69 next week. It won't be as depressing. At least we'll have something to laugh at, right? And probably a lot of petty revenge. But that's all I've got for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.
The jungle, Kintargo, Kovlar, Everywhere the Triad has popped up, they have fallen. They won't win.
You're right. They'll never win. We've given them no quarter, forced them back into hiding at each turn, back into their holes. Where do they hide now?
Along the golden road, coin may ensure their safety in items and time. No amount of gold will protect them from us.
Us. Together. Beating death, breaking curses, and always finding our way. We'll find them. And then they'll know it's over.
So run. Run all you like. There is no fortress, no keep that will protect you. No army or force that will stop us. No matter how long it takes, we will find you. And we will destroy you. We are the unforgotten. We are eternal.